Doma Sports Talk Worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now a couple of shout outs. First of all to Floyd Mayweather for fitting the bill, putting the bill up, putting about close to 100,000 up for George Floyd and his family for the funeral cost, and in 4 different cities. That's Floyd Mayweather doing what he does. Normally, when Floyd Mayweather does something like this, he doesn't let people talk about it, because Floyd wants to be the bad guy because that's how he gets paid, being the bad guy for a lot of people to hate him. So when he does things like this, he doesn't really like people to talk about it, bottom line. But this one is, it's out there, and it's a good gesture from him. But he does a lot of these things under the table where people don't know about it. That's a shout out to him. And for everybody, Blackout Tuesday, right? For people who really mean it, shout out to all of them. Now, me personally, I don't really have to do it. I'm not on social media, Twitter, what are the other ones? Snapchat, what's the other, Instagram, and all that stuff. I don't do that. I'm a little bit old. It's a lot of information. I don't go there. But bottom line, I wasn't doing nothing. Just solidarity to everybody. Shout out to everybody worldwide. Worldwide. This is an American thing, right? In our loins, and it has to be addressed in every American city. But worldwide, when you start seeing, Germany, uh, England, the Netherlands, and then people are protesting because it's a worldwide thing. I tell you all the time in Europe, people throwing bananas on the football pitch. Everybody understands that when it comes to being black, that things are a little bit different, right? And it is what it is. I give you when I went to the Netherlands years ago, I had a German person with me. Matter of fact, woman, right? I'm down, downtown, like downtown LA. We got the little wholesale area going down there in the alleys, shopping and whatever. They got one of them in Amsterdam, right? And most of the people who were selling things were coming to me, ignoring the German person. On the way back, I had to let them know, welcome to my world. It can happen to you too. Because, Holland and Germany got a little thing going on. They don't like each other a lot of, from things in the history plus the football thing, because Germany basically is a powerhouse. Holland is too, and they're rivals. They don't really like Germans that much over there. It's not extreme, but to the point where we're going to talk to your brother and not you, right? Where normally it's different. So, just welcome to my world. Things like that. What's going on now is a cleansing process that has to happen because it's just something that's not said. Now, there's a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon and doing things and exploiting this. The Black Tuesday thing, or people that are out there looting that really are not out there protesting peacefully, using this, right? They're also paying people to do things that are, not peaceful protesting. So you have those things that are exploiting this and they're using this and to make it, in a bad light. That's not a good thing. But hey, bottom line, this is not black and white. This is good and evil. This is what this basically is. That's what the world is about: good and evil. And that's bottom line. So uh, we just got to move forward and and kind of fathom this cleansing process worldwide and see how we are going forward. Because bottom line, we're going to have to live together on this planet as a species, right? It's just what it is. It's a species. We can't seem to get it together. But at the end of the day, it's pretty much the same type of people. Now, when you're looking at this Blackout Tuesday thing, right? Um, it's something that if you're a hypocrite, you should just probably leave it alone, right? If you've been documented of not really caring about this, this is out in the open. So a lot of people are jumping on it because, hey, if you don't, there'll be repercussions and people will kind of see, hey, wait, why isn't he, saying something, or why aren't they saying something? But it's a lot of people, especially us over here talking about boxing. I did see one of my favorite uploaders talk about this. Normally, I don't say anything before, I will say something before I look at anybody's what they uploaded about boxing or whatever. But this time I did, and somebody did touch on it. And it's like what I always touch on all the time. And I'm going to talking about Canelo Alvarez, middleweight champion, goes this and that, this division, super middleweight, to become regular champion, went to the 175 pound division to be light heavyweight champion, beating Sergey Kovalev. But, he said he wanted to be middleweight undisputed champion. All right. And now we've seen that he doesn't. We document it all the time. And Canelo Alvarez is talking about fighting, who do we say? Months ago, Ryota Murata. He's in talks to fight him in Japan. Ryota Murata, Ryota Murata. Vamonos, Ryota Murata. Remember that? Was doing it the whole time, right? But the only thing we had in there, Cinco de Mayo. Now it might be in September. If things happen, everything's got pushed back. But the point is, when we were talking, hey, wait a minute now, you have champions in the middleweight division who you should be fighting if you want to become undisputed. We know Demetrius Andrade, you could have fought him on last September, to become the undisputed. You didn't. You went up and fought Kovalev in November, which is not. You could have fought Charlo when he was your mandatory. You're not, right? So we're trying to fight a Billy Joe Saunders, who is probably the weakest link in the super middleweight division, and he was coming off being doped and lackluster performances, right? And now he's done something ridiculous. We know with his domestic violence video, teaching people how to beat up your girls. So he's probably out of the mix. You probably don't want to fight him, which you shouldn't have anyway. So now people were saying, when we say, hey, why are you going up to super middleweight? What's up? Do you want to be this in middleweight? And everybody, well, but Canelo don't have to fight middleweight. You don't have to fight middleweight. But he's wants to fight Golovkin, who's middleweight, right? And he wanted to fight Ryota Murata way back before May. Why was I singing that? Cinco de Mayo, Ryota Murata, because that's who I told you he was going to fight. And those are middleweights. So these fights with Ryota Murata or Golovkin or anybody, right, are better than these fights with Charlo and Andrade, who were trying to fight him forever. And, when you're looking at that, that's just a typical of how things are. You know, in boxing, this is what this is. This is what this is. This keeps going like this the whole time. Your boy Andrade and Charlo can get ignored. Canelo can talk to Ryota Murata right now. Ryota Murata is not a champion. He has a regular title with the WBA that means nothing at all. And he has a fan base in Japan, but whoever is winning boxing in Japan has Inoue or anyone else, right? And not, don't have the boxers in weights up in middleweight and stuff. So yes, Murata has a fan base, right? But you're not going to get the props you're going to get by beating Andrade and or Charlo. Those are top 10 pound for pound guys that are just not being listed at top 10 pound for pound guys. Because top 10 pound for pound guys are guys that people do not want to fight no matter what. So this is typical of what's happening. When you're talking about Canelo average, you're talking about Golden Boy, you're talking about Ring Magazine, and we were always talking about, hey, they never had to address the racist emails coming from Ring Magazine up to Golden Boy. Never addressed them. And I'm talking about the words nigger, black Hitler, all that were in those emails, talking about another promoter or advisor in Al Heyman, who had done nothing to them, just offering free boxing to people, to the consumer. And because they were upset, he got all these names called, all these affiliations. And there's more names with boxing websites that they said they were going to talk about. It's all of that. No one addressed it, right? But now they're on this, Blackout Tuesday thing, right? And it's not that just Ring Magazine and Golden Boy. It's everyone knew about it. This was huge in boxing. It was the biggest story in 2018, I think it was, or late 2017. It was the biggest story of the year to me and to most. Huge story, right? That no major network talked about. I saw your boy, Mr. Golden Boy himself, Oscar De La Hoya, go on First Take and the ESPN, and nothing was asked. He probably went on Fox too. Nothing was ever asked, right? Ever. Just like with Tyson Fury right now and Deontay Wilder. Now, we've seen his boxing gloves all over the internet. And we saw what happened to Martin Carefoot and the wild boar. Now, it's if those things are alleged or can be proven that they're not uh, true, then you do that. But what we would ask is that you address it in mainstream media because it's the heavyweight champion, right? When Wilder talked about a suit when asked, that was on all those networks. Now, this, where he could be hitting this guy with his glove, with his knuckle through the glove, and the glove is way back and all of that stuff, right? And he has a history of doing so, where you have sparring partners talking about it. You have sparring partners talking about egg weights in the gloves, or taking the padding out of the gloves. You have a fight being stopped at the beginning with Christian Hammer. All of those things that everyone on the internet knows. And you're going to tell me the mainstream media doesn't even have an inkling. None of those dudes on mainstream media that's talking every day have cousins and brothers and people that know what's going on the internet. They do, but they call each other rival networks. They call each other and say, "Man, we ain't talking about that now. All right, y'all ain't talking about it either. All right, cool. We're not touching it." But then those are things that are pertinent, right? Deontay Wilder, Andrade, Charlo, Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz, Rigondeaux, all of those things are things that are happening of fighters of color that shouldn't be. And if you would address it before it gets to the point of something happening so big to what happened to Mr. George Lloyd, those kind of things are are happening every day, and we're just not talking about them, right? And we're talking about them, but mainstream media will not touch them at all. It's similar to Jeffrey Epstein, right? Jeffrey Epstein. Let me tell you something. Some hackers done got some information on most of these people with the black book from Jeffrey Epstein. And Jeffrey Epstein, what happens with him? No one talk about it because everybody's involved, right? This ain't a Republican Democrat thing and conservative and far left, which is not even something far left. What does that mean? People that are not racist have to have a name. If you're not racist, that's ridiculous anyway. But the bottom line is all the people are involved. So what happened to Epstein? Two security guards go to sleep, do synchronized sleeping, right? And then and all of a sudden the camera goes out, and so Epstein kills himself. When all of that happens, and now with these hackers that have come out a couple of weeks ago, one is Revel and the other one's anonymous, have come out. Now they won't meet to make mainstream media at all. It won't because a lot of people can get caught here. This is a whole lot of this is something bigger than just a little politics. I don't want to go there, right? But you got to worry about if you say something that YouTube might come, the algorithm might come and find that you said something. Like I told you guys at the beginning when I was talking about 500 cases of child molestation in English football, and they docked me half of my views. So that's why all this stuff, when you come telling the truth, people will want it under the rug. Period. Right? And that's what's happening here with some of this boxing stuff. That's the whole time this will happen. So it's your obligation. Yeah, Blackout Tuesday, be a part of it and all of that because everybody is, right? But it would be better if you felt it, right? Because that's what this is about. It's you should have talked about Tyson Fury, at least talked about it and gave your opinion about it, right? As a heavyweight champion, you shouldn't have these fighters that are champions and you're just putting other people in front of them in the pound for pound list and making franchise belts for Lomachenko and Canelo so they don't fight. And the common denominator is a very, very formidable mandatory. Now you got Canelo talking to Murata. You got Gennady Golovkin talking to Zemaretta. Zemaretta with 4 knockouts. Well, he just got his 5th one, right? But those two that are just not fighting these guys are in front of the other guys. Blasphemous. You get dock points when you don't fight the guys that you should be fighting. Or especially when they want to fight you. Have went to every weight division to do so. Guillermo Rigondeaux is being ignored. Inui beats the guy that Guillermo Rigondeaux beat 6 years ago in Nonito Donaire. And he got an eye socket problem and went through hell. Fight of the year, right? Fight of the year. You know why? Because it was even between Inaui and Donaire. That's why it was the fight of the year. Inaui has a broken nose and an eye socket out of that fight. Rigondeaux fights Donaire younger when Donaire was number 3 pound for pound, and it wasn't fight of the year. It was a one-sided affair. Rigondeaux won, right? And he was called boring and was blackballed. How does that happen in a fight that we want in a sport that we want to know who's the best, right? We want to know who's the best. So these things contribute to what's going on nowadays. You have to take it over and over and over, and at some point, brothers are going to stop watching those fights. Like Canelo fights, well, I'm tell you something, live, if it's something else going on, I'm not. Golovkin, and those are must-see guys, really. But you have to stand for something. If you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for everything. Now, I'm watching Canelo, and I'm seeing what's happening, and love to watch the dude fight, man, because he's awesome. Gennady Golovkin, you love to watch him fight because you know he's gonna get something. You know he's gonna walk down those smaller guys, but you want to watch him. But you wait, but you know, well, they ain't the very best though, why are they one and number three pound for pound when they won't fight other guys that I think Andrade beats both of them, right? Andrade probably ain't gonna get the decision over Canelo, but he gonna beat him, right? Charlo, another story. I'm not sure. Charlo gonna come forward, try to he can get clipped trying to come forward, but I'm not sure. But he has a chin and a work rate, and he punches very hard, right? I don't think he's as technical as Andre, but he got more punching power. So those are good fights. But like I told you before, Gennady Golovkin don't want to fight Charlo because it just don't like that picture. And what I mean by that is he's not walking down Charlo, right? You're gonna have to do something else. That other stuff that you did with Lemieux, that's what you're gonna have to try to do. And the Canelo second fight, where it's like, okay, I can't walk the dude down, so I better show my other skills. Because Johnny Glover has other skills. He just doesn't have to use them because they give him smaller fighters that he can walk down. And people that know boxing know these things. The bottom line is, it needs to be the mainstream because this is what all of those most people talking about boxing, whether they have their names or whatever they're doing, new media, LDBC or whatever all the names are, is brothers talking about boxing, basically telling the truth. Some are animated, some are not. But when they're telling the truth and with facts, they're being ignored and being attacked and trying to being labeled, and all they're saying is the truth, right? And the bottom line is, but the truth can be hidden when it's not in the open. People try to hide it. Lloyd, Aubrey, that was in the open. That's why the world is paying attention now. So let's see what happens going forward. I mean, it's not, you actually don't want to really even talk about these things. But when I heard Canelo was talking to Murata again, and this article was trying to justify that it's a decent fight, and as usual, when I scroll all the way through the article, you will never ever read when you talk about Canelo. You rarely, say ever really, read anything about Demetrius Andrade like he's a Bigfoot or something that doesn't really exist. And he's a WBO champion who's mandatory. Jaime Munguia doesn't want to fight him either. Think about it. Is he the only one in boxing right now who's mandatory, doesn't even want to fight him? And neither are the champions, right? And if Charlo want to fight him, that's okay. But I don't want Charlo and Andre to fight yet until they get some of these other dudes, Canelo and Johnny Golovkin first. Then, when Charlo and Andre can fight for all the marbles, then so be it. But not the four, right? Let's acknowledge that those other two guys that are in front of them in the pound for pound will not fight them, right? And let's treat them as such by putting them in the pound for pound list. Then we can dance. Doma Sports Talk worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.